Hey Wes, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Why don't we just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what made you join the military?
I grew up, my dad was in the Army, and we were kind of lower middle class. They got divorced, and it ended up in Spokane, Washington with my dad and stepmom, living there, and joined right after graduating high school in '88 from Ferris High School. So I went to the Navy because they gave me, my parents couldn't do college and stuff like that, and my grades weren't that great for going straight into college, SATs or whatever. So I joined the Navy, and I wanted a job that would translate into real life, give me some experiences for real life. So, I was figuring I didn't want to go and just shoot people or whatever. Not that I was against that. I grew up hunting and shooting sports and things like that, but ended up going to becoming a hospital corpsman in the Navy. Ended up in Balboa Hospital in San Diego. That's where I did the A school, and that's where boot camp was at the time. It was either in Orlando for Navy, Chicago, or San Diego in '88. So you had three choices, and I picked San Diego because I wanted sun and palm trees. And look, I'm here in Florida, sun and palm trees, so maybe it's a theme in my life. But got trained there at the A school at Balboa. My first duty station then was Bremerton Naval Hospital up by the Seattle area on the other side of the Puget Sound, where I was in OBGYN for 7 or 8 months, helping with the delivering of the babies or postpartum women.
So you went straight into the medical field?
Or help taking care of the infants, into that, straight to the medical field. Didn't go out into the ships or anything. I didn't go with the SEALs or the Marine Corps, because some corpsmen go to those other places where they're needed. But I hadn't had enough experience to get out there because life had other plans for me. So I was at Bremerton, Christmas leave, went back to visit mom, Christmas. Coming home, drove all the way across the state and ended up hitting ice on the road, breaking my back at T3 right here at chest level. So
T3?
T3, so nothing from the nipples down, it's all paralyzed. So there's no muscles. It's only like the chest up and the upper back. That's it. So then I was in a wheelchair. I had to learn life in a wheelchair. And I adjusted pretty well. I didn't get bitter or anything. I just figured I was medical. Boom, you break your back, they tell you it's paralyzed, completely severed nerves, you don't walk. And it was just like, okay, what do we got to do? Because I met a guy, rewind a little bit. I met a guy in a wheelchair in Spokane before. And in Spokane, there's a race called Bloomsday. It's a 12K road race. 50,000 runners come to Spokane, Washington to run this 12K road race. And there's 30 to 50 wheelchairs all the time racing it. The racing guys that are in the Olympics now, those kind of guys. So I volunteered there once in high school, and I saw that, and I was handing out waters at the race, and I saw these racers go by, and these wheelchairs are so fast. And they had their gloves, their hands were all gloved up with all sorts of tape to push fast on the rim, so they couldn't grab the waters. So none of them would take waters, and I was like, what? So they didn't drink, or they had a water system on their bike, so they could just do the straw. But their hands were so mitted up, and if they got wet, the rubber on the rubber would start slipping, so they couldn't push their racing wheelchairs. So I had seen that. So maybe back in my subconscious when I got paralyzed, life's not over. God put that in my life for a reason, and now I could see that there's life after a wheelchair. It's not a life sentence. So I don't think I was bitter. I think I was just God's grace, how are you going to get me through this kind of thing. I didn't have any faith at the time, but I'm saying that now. God's grace, gets you through some of those things, and you look back and you think, man, there's a purpose for this. There's a reason for this beyond just feeling sorry for yourself. You can transcend it, so to speak, and deal with adversity in life with that.
Good seed, good soil, right?
Yeah, good seed, good soil. Okay. So then where was I? I broke my back, on the way back to Bremerton Naval Hospital. I didn't think life was a life sentence. I met a lot of good people in the VA hospital that rehabbed me and taught me all the things that were possible afterwards, the sports. And so when I went home, I had a racing chair ordered for me before I even got home so I could start running in the racing wheelchair. So I started doing that, started running the Bloomsday road race that was in my hometown, which is all hills. Now, it's super challenging. Yep. So now they have two in the back and one way out front. and you're way down inside of it. You're tucked down like in a fetal position, tucked down inside of it like in an aerodynamic position, running back. Then they had a four-wheeler, and then they shifted to three-wheelers that the wheel was really close to you. Then the third wheel comes, now it's way out front.
Like a drag car.
Yeah, like a drag car, more so. And aluminum, airplane aluminum, and now they even make them in carbon fiber for even more expensive, more aerodynamic. So some of the fancy ones you see at the Olympics can be. There's one that a few years, the last Olympics was made by Honda. They made this guy a $50,000 carbon bike chair that was all aerodynamic. So they get nuts. Like, it's nuts how far you can go with this sport. But mine was only 3,000 something now, the one I got. It was airplane aluminum when I jog in now. So I still like to run. But I had the racing chair for me when I got home. And I started running races. And then I made a life goal, like a bucket list, to do the Boston Marathon eventually. And so eventually I qualified and did a couple Coeur d'Alene marathons right around there, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, right around the Northwest area. Qualified, and I did the Honolulu. Then in those two races, then I qualified, then I did the Boston a couple times, like in 97, 98.
Boston Marathon.
So it was bucket list, did the 100th and the 101st running of it. So those two. Yeah, it was good stuff. And then later on, then I started having kids. Met my wife Laurelyn at church. We started having kids. We didn't think we could have kids, so that was another blessing and a miracle that I could actually have kids, because I didn't think I could do that without spending money for artificial insemination and spending all this money. But luckily, a couple times, I guess, my swimmers swam, and it all worked out. It all worked out. So I had two boys. One's 20, 25 now. One's in the Navy right now. Okay. He's learning submarines right now, nuclear submarines right now. Yes. Up in Charleston, we go this weekend to watch his graduation from the nuclear school. Okay. So yeah, he did the machinist, then nuclear, and then he's going to do prototype. I don't know what that means. Huh?
How long has he been in now?
Just since like last July or August. Okay. So he just graduated the boot camp in Chicago. So we went up to Chicago for that. My other boy learned finance down at FAU, and he's got a job. They're shifting him to Dallas right now. Nice. So that's kind of where I am. I got blessed with a family and a great wife and kids. So I've been a dad for all these years. I was volunteering, homeschooling them a little bit when they were younger, and then volunteering here and there in the community, looking for other things to do. Then I went back into sports again. I went to hand cycling, and I started racing for the Paralyzed Veterans of America racing team. So we traveled all around, did these great races, like this 5-stage bike race in Rome, Georgia. It was called the Clock Tower Classic. I don't think it exists anymore. And then my other bucket list after the Boston was to do the Challenge Alaska. It was a 250-mile bike race in Alaska from Anchorage to Fairbanks. 8 stages. So some days were like 50 miles. All you're doing is riding hills.
8 stages, okay.
All you're doing was riding hills. Yeah, 250 miles at 8 different stages. So some days was like a 50-miler that was all uphill. Some days might be a fast criterium or a fast road race, and then another hilly 50-mile day. So it was 8 stages like that. So it was a really endurance thing. I figured that was another bucket list thing I was really proud of.
250 miles.
Yeah, and so that was crazy. And then volunteering, I was volunteering at Metropolitan Ministries. I volunteered there for a little while, and then the YMCA here for a little while in Pinellas County. So that's what I've been doing. And then my wife wanted to start a business, and so she was taking all this naturopathic wellness course online through Dr. Cheryl at the if I say this right, let's see, Institute for Naturopathic Wellness. There it is. I just didn't have it right on the top of my memory. But yeah, we got certified as a naturopath, not a naturopathic doctor, but a certified naturopathic practitioner. So it's less than a full doctor, but you can help people with all sorts of things from gut, heart, brain fog, weight loss, you name it. Stuff you can help with, general, I don't want to say inflammation, but a lot of little things going wrong with your body because of age and inflammation and things like that. But just general helping out now. So we got certified in that. We just started that business in January, started a website and so forth. So that's kind of my story. And I've been active in other things like with the VA, volunteering with their golf program at Rogers Park. Okay. That's once a month. We help veterans golf, and so I'm one of the golfer participants and / volunteer. So
22 years in military, I can't do golf.
Can't do golf?
I tried.
Yeah?
Can't get off the range.
Yeah. Well, they stand me up. There's this wheelchair that stands me up.
Oh.
and I strap in with my knees, my waist, my chest, because I don't have any muscles below here.
Right.
And so it kind of stands me up, and I swing a kind of a one-arm swing.
Okay.
It's modified because I can't swing both arms, because if I do, it's like I just
Oh,
fall because
yeah.
I don't have the trunk support. So that's kind of
Okay.
that. So yeah, I've been involved with a lot of different sports, from hand cycling and golf and kayaking and trying out water skiing and snow skiing over the years. But my old shoulders are telling me to slow it down a little bit. So I got a couple shoulder injuries where the supraspinatus on this side and this side, different years, were injured, because one was a bike wreck, one was up at a wheelchair sports camp up in Minnesota called Ironwood Springs Christian Camp for kids. So there's a bunch of all sorts of ages, adults, all with disabilities, trying different sports, from, you name it, golf, skeet shooting, basketball, dodgeball. We get them out there doing all sorts of stuff and getting them. So sometimes I do that every other year or something. I volunteer up there. So, but that's what I'm doing now.
That's pretty awesome.
And right now with my wife, just trying to help people get healthy naturally. We want people who are looking to naturally get healthy, and we're just a guide. We try to give them a plan to get them to where they want to go on their journey, because they're the true hero. Getting to where they want to go.
That's awesome.
And so that's kind of what we do now.
Kind of seems like that's the theme for your life. I'm noticing. It's like you're an inspirational guy, whether you think so or not. Like when I first spoke to you, you're like, oh, I don't have a good story. You're an inspirational guy, Wes.
Thanks, man.
Like, I mean, to
Appreciate it. From hearing that from you, and you've talked to a lot of veterans, more than I have.
Absolutely.
Of course, I meet veterans throughout my life in a
course.
chair, 30 years,
Mhm.
30 plus, whatever that is.
Yeah, but when you sit there and you instantly just, again, God must have planted that seed in you, good seed, good soil, or whatever it is, you instantly move forward on it, when I know plenty of men who haven't or could not, or took a much longer time to have that realization.
Wow.
You went it and you just came at it and you maintained exactly what you would have if you had been. Your path was your path, and it shined a light for a lot of others, so lots of respect for you.
Wow, well, I appreciate that. And like you said, you know a lot of veterans, and you've talked to a lot of them, more than I have, so I appreciate it.
So, well, listen, I greatly appreciate your time coming down here. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for what you do within the community and inspiring as many people as you do.
Wow. Well, thank you for what you do with veterans and with the entrepreneurial community in our humble town of Palm Harbor.
Well, I greatly appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.